God bless your hearts, my brothers and sisters. It's me again, Reverend Ray Watson from Kingdom of Deliverance Baptist Church. And I'm here just giving some random thoughts and random, what you might say, a rant. Of course, trying to relax in the evening after the kids had went to bed. Got the house is nice and quiet, and I tried to get out there and get on. Had time to myself to do one of my hobbies, which happens to be electronic in nature. While I was doing that, working on my computer, before I got to the hobby, I decided to check out what was on YouTube and find out what other folks are saying, because YouTube and Facebook have become the new marketplace where we can share ideas no matter how outlandish and how far-fetched they might be. But in my process of browsing through some videos, I found one from a couple of brothers that actually address things that happen within our community. When I say our community, I'm talking about the African American community. And they always seem to complain about sisters, black women, sisters, how bad they're treating their kids, how they are quote unquote hood rats, and how they might be gold diggers, and all that other stuff. And they continue to complain about them and talk about how they're no good and things of that nature. And I'm sit there and I listen to some of this stuff, and I always try to give folks the benefit of a doubt and be quiet and not really say much about what's going on. But the more they talk, the more I got irritated. And here's what I was getting irritated about. You have black men talking about how bad women are, what they're doing to their children, how they present themselves, how they, by them not doing anything or doing what they're doing, is actually destroying the community. I had a problem with that because it all became one-sided. Of course, it's black men that are saying that. Of course, you have the opposite extreme where women do say, black women say, our black men are destroying our community. So in all of that, where does the truth really lie? And the problems that we face, we can always go back to the de facto thing about racism. But that's really not going to really solve the problem of what happens internally within our family. I'm not saying that racism does not have a place in blame, but we can't always rely on that. Listening to these men, you get the impression that they really don't like black women. It's always their fault. Here's the problem. It's not. The reason why I say it's not, because in all the time they're ranting about the black women, they're talking about men trying to stand up. Here's the problem. They don't call for men to stand up. They don't actually look into the deepness of the issue of what really is the problem. It's not the women doing what they're doing. It's the men who haven't stood up. How am I going to explain that? Well, let me explain it in the word. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22. Reading from the Christian Standard Bible, which says, wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church. For he is the Savior of the body. We'll stop right there. That's verses 22 and 23 from Ephesians 5. It says the one thing, and it says that, and I'm not finished, I'm going to get back to the word, but it says one thing, wives, submit yourselves. In the King James Version, it actually says, submit yourselves to your own husbands. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. I know there's some chauvinistic males, Misogynistic men. If they don't know any other verse, they know that verse. They don't know that Jesus is the Savior of the world, but they know that verse. They don't know about love and kindness, but they know that verse. They don't know about anything else, but they know that verse. And they will quote it verbatim and still miss the mark. Because what it says in those two verses is what? Wives, submit to your own husbands. You got misogynistic men and chauvinistic males who believe that all women should submit to them. Wrong. They are to submit to their own husbands. Now, if you are a male and have not provided covering, as in the marriage covenant, for a woman, where she can be called your wife, she doesn't have to submit to you. And sisters, when it says submit, it doesn't mean that you have no will. You're less than anything or anybody. It says submit to your husbands as to the Lord. In other words, as the church should submit to Christ. That's how a wife should submit to her husband. It means fall in rank order, military rank order. Because what happens is that the husband is the head of the family, as Christ is the head of the church. Now here's where it comes in at, that you have to look at verse 24, or 25, I'm sorry. Verse 25, it says, husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. Stop. To make her what? Holy, cleansing her with the washing of the water by the word. Love your wives. See, this is where the problem comes in. Because we have men that would like to take verse 22 but never read verse 25. They don't want to love their wives. They want to boss their wives. They think they got a maid. They think they got somebody that's going to do and cook and clean and do all that other stuff for them and be ready in the bedroom when they're in the mood. Yeah, I went there. But they don't consider what it says in 25. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. You don't qualify if you ain't qualified to be no husband material unless you're willing to lay down your life for your wife, for your family. Christ died, shed his blood so that he can have a church be presented to him without spot or wrinkle. In other words, with its sins cleansed from her. A holy church, acceptable church. An acceptable body. And this is where we have that problem in our community. Because we don't have husbands, we don't have fathers, we don't have male role models that are around to love their family, to love their church as Christ, to love their family as Christ loved the church. They don't have that. We have a whole bunch of not men to be husbands, but a whole lot of little boys that haven't matured, and as soon as things get tough, they walk out the door. They're not willing to give of themselves. They're not willing to have self-sacrifice. They're not willing to lay down their lives so that their wives can be better, that their children can be better, and in turn the community can be better. They're not willing to do that. As soon as there's trouble, they cut and run. As soon as they say she starts giving me lip and starts talking about I got to go, I can't be around her. That's not being a man. That's not being a husband. That's being a boy that's on the playground and won't let them in to play the little game in the sandbox. I'll take my toys and I go home. That's what the problem is. Because without the men standing up to be men, godly men, kingdom men, and I want to give a shout out, you got to pick up that book, Kingdom Man by Tony Evans. Pick up that book and read it. If you're a man, read that book. You might not be here in Peoria, but I know one of my friends, he's teaching out of that book in Chicago, out there in Country Club Hills, Hazelcrest Country Club Hills, at Hillcrest Baptist Church. He's teaching out of that book. That book will change men's lives. It will tell them that they are men of destiny and men that are destined for God and goodness. When we have kingdom men, they take care of their families. When we have kingdom men, they are the ones that the women, that kingdom sisters, kingdom women desire in their lives. Because they're the ones that support the family. They're the ones that love their children. They're the ones that support their children. They are the ones that sacrifice so that not only that the whole family can be blessed. Because without that, boys that are born don't have anybody to show them how to be men. When I say that, kudos to our single sisters out there that are raising boys, because by themselves, because the male that they were dealing with walked out on them. Now that's not always the case, but most of the time they are the ones that walked out on them and walked out on the child. They don't have boys don't have nobody to train them to be men. We wind up having little girls that don't know how it is to have a male love them unconditionally without having to put out anything. Yeah, I did that and went there again. Because the father, the husband, the man, her father, is the first one to ever show her love. That's what it is. Until we can get that right, my brothers and sisters. Until we can get that right. Until we have men that are willing to be like Christ, be like unto the Lord, and have the Lord cover him. We'll never have husbands that act like Christ. And we'll never have wives that will be able to submit and fall in rank order to their own husband because he does not have Christ and he is not submitted to Christ. Now, my brothers and sisters, that's all I got to say. That's my rant for today. Well, not necessarily today, but check out the other videos we have on our YouTube page here, the Kingdom of Deliverance. Feel free to, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and share this video, and most of all, if you like what we do, subscribe to our channel, Kingdom of Deliverance Baptist Church here in Peoria, Illinois. Be on the lookout. There'll be more videos coming because we're out here. What we want to do at Kingdom is make sure the word is spread and the word goes out so that the world can know that there is a Christ that loves them, died for them, rose again to make sure that everything that he promised you can have. And always remember, no matter what you go through, my brothers and sisters, always remember this. Everything is already all right, for God is still on his throne.